All right, hey guys, it's 11 a.m., June 19th. Lots has happened, that's for sure. Um, there is a lot of stuff on here. Let me take some of it off to just show what I did. I'm going to leave the pitchfork on because it has been one of the better pitchforks that I've seen recently. Um, it follows this median line perfectly, bouncing off channel walls, bounces off some channel walls down here, bounces off the golden zone of the entire thing, bounces off a median line of the main pitchfork that we have on Bitcoin. It bounces off this channel wall of this pitchfork. So this was a pretty juicy area to look to be a buyer. A lot of areas of confluence here. So originally, what I was shooting for, and again, this is why I don't like being a buyer up here in this area, even though when I saw this, I thought, damn, like, I think it's going to break out of this channel wall because we've tested it so many times. Maybe a front run on this 50, that would have sucked, but it just looked like we rolled over. So from this pivot, you have your first kind of data point to give you some areas. So, there was an algo target there. There was a third algo target here. And this is where my initial entry was. Along this median line, on the main 382, and along the golden zone of this pivot. So this was my first area that I started to enter Bitcoin. Now, once we get past the 100%, I typically try to find either a new pivot to pull from. And so this one offered a pretty clear structure. So this is the second one that I used. Again, we come up to the golden zone. We get an algo target down here, which did help me again get some confluence to time my entries. Another one down here. So I did enter here. I know that we broke the golden zone, and I thought about just taking the stop here, but I wanted to let this structure play out. As long as we hold this pivot, this three-wave structure, we have the potential for making maybe a higher high. This is a little bit of wishful thinking, and this is I'm not taking on. I might be taking on a little too much risk, more risk than I usually do here. So that is one thing that I am keeping in mind. Seeing how this coin is playing off these pitchforks might be giving me a little bit of overconfidence, but I just feel like this is a good opportunity because this analysis is giving me a high degree of confidence. I don't know if there's any other way to say it, but I just really like what it's doing here. I wish that we would get some upward momentum, and we might not, but these entries are things that I would do again. There's really just no other way to say it. And if we roll over from this structure, I probably will take a break from the market and just see where we're, like a month, at least a month, and just kind of see where we go. I think we've given the bulls an ample opportunity to try to do something, and it just doesn't look like we're finding the buyers. These are areas that I would buy again and again and again and again. It's just not working. I think we're going to be stuck in this bear market for longer if we don't see something out of this structure. I don't know if I see price coming down, here and then rocking, back up. I think if we break this structure, I think I think we'd go lower than this golden zone. But it's, maybe I'd be looking for something along this channel or something even along this. But again, I don't know if I want to time that bottom, just because now I think we're getting into the territory that we were here. And, God, I really want to stop saying, I rewatched one of my videos and I say that constantly, and I have no idea why, but I do, and I'm trying to stop. Anyway, in relation to what we're doing now, this is, this death, oh my God, this death cross is what we're experiencing right now. So this area right here is unfortunately what we're seeing right now. That's what's called that death cross. This isn't a trading thing that I do. It's something that I like to be aware of. Moving averages, especially on the daily chart, is something that I'm aware of. And when we start closing consistently below them, and when we start this potential downward direction of the moving averages on a daily chart, there's no other way to say it. I mean, it's bear territory. I mean, you're in a bear market. So there's really no fighting it anymore if this doesn't start getting up here. And basically immediately in the next few days. If we get another shot down here, these are going to start really sloping downward. And you can still trade it, like these still good God, maybe I won't be able to stop saying, I don't know if I have to get like an electric shocker to stop me from doing it. I mean, if you guys didn't notice, you're going to notice now, so it's going to piss you off just as much as me. Anyway, the strategy needs to change. This is what's going through my mind, at least, is I'm going to have to change my strategy to more scalp plays. There's plenty of opportunities to make small percent gains in this market fairly consistently. It's a lot more work, and it requires me to be at my computer a lot more. So it's not ideal, but I can make ends meet, at least, by doing these plays. And I think that's kind of where we're entering. I mean, this is kind of what we're seeing over here. So that is going through my mind right now. And this median line that we just hit, if we want to break below it, the only other logical area that we go to is on the other side of the channel wall, and that's down here. And if that happens anywhere in the next, almost month and a half, we're sub 3K easily, and we're low 2Ks. I mean, that's kind of where it is. I mean, even just if it rocketed down and then, by the end of the month, that would take us, roughly to 21K. So, and I just don't want to, I'm just not going to fuck around with that, to be honest. I'm just going to let it do its thing and wait till we get until the bulls show up. I'll take small scalp plays and shit like that, like I was just talking about. But I think trying to find a trend, we're going to have to put a pause on that strategy. And I mean, that is how you make your money. I mean, that's how you add on to these. You add on, and sooner or later you get your entire account into these moves. And that is what makes your entire year. 600% on your whole count. All you need to do is find that once. You could find that once every few years and be fine. I mean, obviously that's not ideal, but that is really what my strategy looks for, is trends. You are trying to ride a trend. I'm sure you've probably heard that, but that is how you make your money. And that's why you can take so many swings here and fail, because in the long run, it doesn't really matter. However, if you keep taking those swings and you just keep losing because you're trying to fight against a trend, that is where, which I admittedly have done a little too much, because And I just didn't want to believe that we were doing this, but I think this is the first warning sign that we had, was when the 8-hour chart started closing below this. That was the first warning sign that we might be in something prolonged. So these are just thoughts that I'm saying to myself. Maybe you guys find it interesting, maybe you don't. So going back down, that's just my macro thoughts. Going back down into the 30-minute on what this structure means, what I think it's going to do, where we might go from here. I think we still have a decent chance at getting some bullish momentum here. And I think that because, well, I'm getting maybe a little less optimistic about it. I was hoping that this bounce would be stronger. I did get an entry down here, somewhere down here. I entered here. I entered along this channel wall. So I basically have two entries. I have entries here, and I have entries here. And really at this point, it's just, we've got to get out of these channels and start testing up here. I mean, we just got to get bullish. There's no other way to say it. We just got to get some momentum here. I could see maybe price coming down and trying to make another run at maybe at this channel wall, maybe get this pitchfork another go. I think my stop will probably, depending on where, because this also requires some timing. Because if we're over here, my stop, I don't know. I think I don't want to take too much risk, because I do have a fair amount into Bitcoin. I think I will just put my stop below this swing here, because that invalidates this structure pretty clearly, that this was just an ABC. There's no other way to count it, which would put us, that all we did was correct. Where do I have this? Up here. We tagged the 382, and first algo target is somewhere down here. So much further to go, in which case the entire market would have much further to go. And that, it's not a bad thing. It's just, I probably will just take a month off, see where it goes, make some scalp plays, maybe along the way. If I see some really good opportunities, make a quick $1,000 or $5,000 or something in there, just to float the month. But that is, if this structure breaks down, I mean, that's kind of, I don't know if I would have much confidence in this holding. It would be great if it did. I don't think that makes a ton of sense. It's just, it seems like it's not enough room. I would think maybe another, somewhere down here. And testing, low, good God, I don't know why. I just can't stop saying it. Trying to zoom out here, just seeing where I think this could go. I mean, 786, and there's some structure here. If you look at this volume indicator, I mean, this is really where the bread and butter is. But there's an okay amount here. I could see it stopping here. Then you get some other structure. You get, this has got to be relevant. To be honest, I really should just have this marked off. Some of these marked off. What the shit? There we go. Marking off some of those key pivots that will undoubtedly be, yeah, you can see it was relevant there. Which is no shocker that it's the 20K. So keep those in mind. That might be good for scalping. All right, I think that's enough on the macro scale. I think beat that down. The other quick thing is 1, 2, 3. This does seem indicative of a 4. Something complex and wonky. The more complex it is and the more confused you are, the more likely that it's a 4. So, again, some sort of correction, not an impulse. So that would lead me to believe that if we put in a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, some kind of 4, we come down maybe for a 5, and we do maybe maybe this would be an okay spot. Maybe I can measure from the 1, from the 4. I think we came up here. 100% is actually more of the target. So man, that would be a brutal thing if that was just a 5-wave structure. You do see some 5s come down to the 618, but this is kind of a common spot for a 5 and 100% of the 1 from the top of the 4. I mean, it's a shallow 4, so it does kind of make sense. But that's just to give, coincides with this algo target. So something down here could, and depending on when it does it, you might also have a channel wall here. So that would be a good spot to take a scalp swing. So we'll keep that in mind. That's the kind of shit that I'll be doing as we move along here. If this doesn't hold, it's good to be prepared for it at least. So let's go down to the 30-minute here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we just put in the 5. So this could have been a completed structure. So let me 1, 2, and then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Usually your 3 has to have some subdivision. You want to be able to count a complete 5-wave structure in your 3. On average, that is where your extension is going to be, and it's the most common type of structure you can see. So it's just best practice to get in that mindset. So easily can get a 5-wave structure out of this. Could it be in some sort of wonky ABC? Maybe A, B, C, A, B, and then we just put in the C. That doesn't seem, be an extreme for the C, but that seems far less likely at this point. Can you still be a buyer down here? Yeah, because Elliott isn't my primary reason for entering or not entering a trade. It is just, it really helps me either tighten my stop loss. It'll help me pull the trigger on. I mean, this was a huge reason I pulled the trigger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that's just the clearest 5-wave structure ever. This was also a clear one. So when you do get these 5-wave structures, it does kind of give you the green light. But yeah, ABC. That seems far more likely now. So I can take this pivot off because this obviously isn't really relevant anymore. Come down to the golden zone. That's all we've done. I've seen. I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. I've seen 3-wave structures measure the whole thing. I think I even did this a little bit ago on one of the coins. Comes down, these pivots become more relevant. It'll hit a golden zone and it'll make a new high. It's crazy. And then how do you count it? Well, you can count it either as a 1, 2, deep 4, and then 5. The only rule is that since the third wave is going to be the shortest in this scenario, especially if wave 5 makes a higher high, this can't be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can only be a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then now we're just putting in a third wave. But there's still things on the table that could happen here. I think if we break this low, those options go away, and that this becomes pretty much solidified. So a lot of entries here. Let me go into Bitcoin dominance. So we did see that divergence here. So this is no shock to me that we've we've come down a little bit. I still think the overall trend of Bitcoin going up higher here is going to happen. Thus, I am far heavier. I think I have 33% of my holdings in Bitcoin right now. Far higher. I mean, far higher than any other. I think the next highest position I have is 9% of my account value, so significantly higher in Bitcoin. For that exact reason, from the Bitcoin dominance chart. Sorry, this video is going a little longer. There's just a lot to digest and think through here, and I'm kind of doing this in real time. I kind of stepped away from the market. I put my buy orders in and then put an alert below. I didn't hit it. I'm just kind of shocked it didn't, but it was at, I think it was below. Maybe I put it here. Yeah. Anyway, so I was really the main reason my entries were here was the pitchforks. I went over this, but yeah, I was a big pitchfork entry guy here. I did try to enter in on some of the algo targets where I could. I entered here. It was close to that. I mean, this is incredible. This pitchfork is amazing. I mean, all of them are. I mean, this pitchfork, this median line, it's crazy that you get 3 pitchforks and they're all intersecting right here on one of their parts, either a channel wall, a median line, or another channel wall. So that this area, and then you have this support, you have the golden zone. This was a great entry. I would just every fucking time I would take this. But whether or not it goes up, that's to be seen. This looks a little weak, and if one thing I've got to be better about is get onto the higher time frame, see what it looks like. I mean, this bounce is weak. No other way to say it. Moving averages, we attempted to get above them here, failed pretty spectacularly. Again, we're trying to get above the movie. I'm on the 4 hour. Again, we try to break above these, maybe start a new trend. You get rejected. We did float along the 200 moving average there for a second. And then we just kind of stormed right through them. We got rejected off of them. So starting a new trend is not going well. So yeah, guess just keep an eye on it. My stops are in place. I also like to put alerts above here so I know if I'm getting some upward movement. I think if we can get up to this channel wall again, I don't think it'll survive get another test like that. I think we might break out of it if we get up this high. Right now, I mean, we've got a lot of barriers to get through. And then this is the first pivot that we've got to see some action on, and where we can't seem to even test the 50. So things are looking pretty grim, I would say, at least from a initial reaction off of this. It would have been nice to see something more violent. I really don't think, if there are bulls out there, they're very timid, it seems like. The bears are firmly in control right now, and that, I think I was a little too late to the party to address that fact, but it is a fact at this point. The only saving grace is I do like the fact that we seem to be, at least on the 30-minute, we seem to be trying to get a new trend going. We had the moving averages above this. We fail. We seem to be testing some of it again. Maybe on a lower time frame, you can see that a little better. 15-minute, this whole, good God, I hear it again. Just that thing. I think it's when I just get into a mantra or something. Who knows? We're trying to push these moving averages in the other way. That's what you want to see. These fibs, when you do a pull like this, these fibs can act as support and resistance. That 50 seems to be providing the resistance. We blew right through it on the way down, but on the way up, it seems to be offered some some stuff. All right, I think that's enough on Bitcoin. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is a good area to be a buyer. I was a buyer. I'm going to be putting my stops an okay amount below it. Let maybe some of these channels, especially if we come down screaming down here, I'd maybe let this channel attempt to hold it again. But from a time standpoint, if we're over here, that starts to get a little too low for me, and I don't want to let it come down that low, so I'm not interested. Some other entries that I've had across the board, I got stopped out on a lot of these coins. So this is the structure on a 4-hour that I was playing. In hindsight, probably too small of a structure to try to play, but the nice thing is it's such a small, I think my losses in total on the position was like 2 to 3%. So they're small losses, but this is equivalent. These are the structures that I was playing, which is aggressive. But when you get bounces off these, this is kind of the last. To me, this is the last chance to be bullish. Now these coins seem far more bearish to me. It's an aggressive play. There's no other way to say it. Playing this structure, playing this. I think I played this one, but I was up here. I got stopped out or maybe I was down here when I got stopped out. Yeah, these coins are not looking. These are the coins that clearly just are not looking good. After this shot up, I thought, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did we get something here? I took a swing here. Nope, came back down over here. ICP. I got stopped out somewhere over here. This thing is rocketing. I'm just going to keep an eye on this thing. This pitchfork is still relevant. Juicy targets down here. Definitely would be a buyer down here. Maker, I didn't take anything on, but it's when you look at these coins, it's the same structure over and over for most of them. Some of them are weaker, some of them are stronger than others. I took a small swing at Algo here. Algo seems to be kind of along this channel wall. I took a little swing here, but it seems to be breaking out of it. So this channel held well, but I think maybe we'll bounce off here. I'm not going to be a buyer there. Maybe something down here, depending on what Bitcoin does. Yeah, 20%. So I just keep an eye on these, see if any have this broke. But the 786 down here, you get a high volume. Ooh. Yeah, you get some high volume nodes around here. Decent to take a swing at, especially just from a scalp if you want to make a few percent, which is probably what I'll do. Just looking across these coins, yeah, pretty much all the same structure. These coins that I've entered on though were the stronger ones. I think golden zones are holding on them. Let's buyer down here, see what they do. This guy I just had to be a buyer on strictly because of it's moving. It's just, look at this. This was, no other coins are doing this. So was a buyer here. You got a lot of support here. We'll see how far it wants to go. I'm gonna stay in until we're below the 786, and I did the whole move versus this one. Just been that lesson's hit me hard too many times, at least recently, especially in a uncertain market. So where was my entries on this guy? Hold on one sec. I don't know if my mic died for any of this. Sometimes when I go on these long, man, this is a long one. Sorry guys. I just got a lot of stuff to say, I guess. So first entry, yeah, so I entered here, then it's here, I had another entry here, I have another buy order sitting here, and then I'll have a stop below that. I like trying to take swings at the, these coins that are moving, you get a lot of volatility out of them, and the potential for what's happening is good, so pretty fine with that. Same structure, same play that I made on these other coins here, but some coins are just deciding to hold it a little bit better. Who knows why? Just some coins are stronger. New, I actually took a swing on this because of what it did here. This coin's always been notoriously spiky though, so I think I entered a little bit along these moving at wherever the 4 hour was. I think there was some. No, maybe there wasn't. Was it a 2? Nope. Yeah, it must have been a 30-minute. So I entered here, then I entered down here, and then I just have a stop just below that. Below this stuff. Where is it? Yeah, 27999. We'll see. I don't mind taking, some of these swings here. I think average entry is like about here. Put a stop below that. 6%, not a huge position. New has always seemed to kind of do its own thing. Some of this was happening when the market was. It just seems to do some things opposite to the market, I've noticed. And I like keeping an eye on it. I made a lot of money on this run, so I like to give her some chances. Decent buy. I'm fine with this. If I get stopped out, good with that. See where it wants to. I'll continue to be a buyer down here. Huge volume node down here. That makes sense. A lot of structure. Fine taking a swing down there. This guy doing okay. I think a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought potentially that this was just a 1, 2, and all we did was the 3. But now, obviously, this isn't a 4. This isn't a 1, 2, 3, 4. This completed, and now we're correcting the whole thing. So, I took a small swing here. Then I got another entry here, and then I have another entry down here. I'll get stopped out below it. Same thing here. ADA, I played it a little. I think I have some entries up here, and I wanted to see if it would break this, and I just put my stop below this overall golden zone. ADA has been a strong coin throughout this whole ordeal, so I am trying to continue to find okay entries and give this guy some room, because I do think that this is one of the stronger coins out there. But I mean, it arguably, yeah. So that guy, this one entered. I'm on Gemini on this one. It just has more data, but for some reason, I think my order was down here on Coinbase, and it did get filled. So you will see a slight difference in those exchanges, but overall, it's pretty much identical, at least where price is. So first entry here, I've laddered orders through here. This, again, another coin that's just moving during all this, so I want to be a buyer here. I'm kind of pissed on a Sheeb. I don't even know what the hell this coin is. I think I saw an ad for it, but whatever, it's moving. I'll trade it. It was supposed to be listed on Coinbase like on the 16th, somewhere over here. Never got added. Still can't add it. I would love to have been a buyer there. I'll keep an eye on this guy. But those are the coins that I'm watching. These are the coins I'm just tracking in general. But these are the positions. We'll see. But yeah, let's get the hell up here. Let's do some stuff. Where are these bulls? I do feel like I am getting fatigued in this market, which brings me flashbacks of what it was like to be a trader during this market and during this market. Even during here, unless you were trading Bitcoin was the only one that was doing shit. All the altcoins just got destroyed during this move up, and then got destroyed even harder during this move down. It's crazy. But yeah, this is giving me some flashbacks to what it was like trading here. It's just constant disappointment, constant strikeouts. It was trades that you would take, that looks good, and just keeps failing out on you. Kind of the same scenario here, just a lot of nonsense. And it's just, your alarms are going off. It's just constant downward pressure. You're getting a lot of stops, a lot of entries. It's just tiring. And I'm getting some of the old feelings about that. So I am feeling the fatigue. And during that, it is nice to try to find a break. And so I think I've identified this area as my break if this doesn't hold up. I'm not, I don't really see other entries for a while, So, all right, 35 minutes. That's a long video. Sorry, but I didn't make one for a few days, and there's just been a lot of shit on my mind. So, there you go. Hopefully, all that recorded. All right, see you guys.